Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is take this tofu out of the press, drain it, and crumble it. And we're gonna toss it with some spices and soy sauce and a little bit of olive oil. Then we're going to put it on this baking sheet and bake it at 375 for about 25 to 30 minutes. We're trying to achieve sort of a ground beef sort of texture. Freezing and thawing the tofu already gets it pretty close to that texture. I just want it to be a little bit more firm, so it has a nice bite to it in the stew. Oh, and this is extra firm tofu. And it did not drain very well. Oh well, the moisture will bake out of it when it's in the oven, I hope. Like I said, this is going to be a learning experience. You're aiming for pretty small crumbles here. Wash the tofu goo off my hands. And we'll drizzle in about, I don't know, tablespoon or so of olive oil. And we'll say tablespoon of soy sauce. Smidge more soy sauce. Now, that was about a teaspoon of paprika. And half a teaspoon of cumin. And we're just going to give that a toss. Oh, if you're wondering what kind of paprika to use, smoked is fine, sweet is fine, whatever you can get, honestly. I'm just using basic store-brand paprika right now because it's all I can afford. I'm not calling myself a broke-ass vegan witch for nothing. All right. Wow, that already tastes good. Needs a little bit more olive oil though. I'm very much a taste as you go person, and don't worry, my hands are clean. I washed them thoroughly before I started this video. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to spread this out in a single layer on our baking sheet. And the the oven is already preheated to 375. Okay, I think that's about as even as the layer is getting. Okay, now I've got my soup pot heating up. What we're gonna do is we're going to brown up some onions and saute some garlic. And we're gonna bloom our spices and throw in some other things. Hey, buddy. Having a bird supervisor isn't a requirement, but it helps. So what I've got here is some diced onions, some minced garlic, some diced peppers, and some cauliflower that's been broken down into small florets. For the protein, I'm going to be putting in both beans and tofu. Both of them are high in iron, but non-heme iron isn't absorbed as readily as the iron from meat. So what helps with that is consuming vitamin C along with the plant-based iron. And both peppers and cauliflower are both really high in vitamin C. So I always like to put either one or both in with my plant-based protein. Dexter. All right. Popping the onions into the pot. When you hear that sizzle, you know your pot's hot enough. I want my onions to get a little bit of color on them. Not necessarily fully caramelized, just a little bit brown. And these elements get crazy hot, so that probably won't take too long. Oh, I forgot to mention, as for how much onion you want, I use 2 medium onions. Okay, the onions are starting to get translucent now, so it shouldn't be too long until they start to brown. Assuming I can resist the urge to stir them around a bunch. As your onions are getting closer to where you want them, you do need to stir them around a little bit more just to stop them from getting burned. So don't wander away from too far from the stove. Okay, that's where I want the onions, right there. You see how they're sort of browned around the edges? That's perfect. How long that's going to take is going to depend entirely on your oven. Because on my old oven, it would have taken ages because the burners were kind of useless. On this one, it didn't take so long. Changing the angle here because I'm going to be adding stuff in kind of rapid fire now, and I want you to see what I'm doing. Some of those got a little too toasty. Not burnt though, so that's fine. So first we're going to toss in our garlic. And let that get warmed up a bit. I love that smell. And that's 3 cloves of garlic. Normally I'd put in more because I like to keep the vampires at bay, but there's also garlic in the harissa paste, so I'm being conservative for me. So we're using about 2 tablespoons of harissa paste. I like it spicy. Woo! Inhaled some of the fumes. That wasn't the greatest. And we'll say 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Now you want this to caramelize a bit, but you don't want it to burn, so keep it moving. You'll know it's ready when it starts to darken a little bit. This is just about there. I apologize for the bad lighting in here. This cabin is just kind of on the dark side. I'm gonna invest in a ring light later on, so that'll help a lot. Okay, I think this is good. Now, when you pour in your first can of coconut milk, be sure to scrape the bottom to get up all the harissa paste that's stuck to the bottom of the pan. That's coconut milk isn't the greatest thing to deglaze with, but it should work. Peppers and cauliflower going in. And it's about time we check on our tofu. Oops. Taste test. Yum. That's exactly what you want. And I'd call that done. So we're gonna leave that out of the oven and turn it off. The coconut milk isn't quite enough fluid on its own, so I'm going to add, we'll start with 4 cups of water. And once it gets boiling, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of Better Than Bouillon, vegetable stock. But you can use any kind of vegetable base that you want, bouillon cubes, whatever. And I am currently fighting a very strong urge to snack on those tofu crumbles. They smell really, really good. Why did I put these away? Still need to put my beans in. Usually for something like this, I'd prefer to use white beans, but I don't have any, so I'm using Romano beans. That's 1 can of Romano beans, rinsed and drained. And I feel like that might not be enough. Yeah, definitely not. Let it run up too. Oh yeah, I forgot. Also adding a little bit of basil to this. About a teaspoon. Okay, we're gonna add the tofu bits to the stew now. While this was simmering, I cooked up some rice in my Instant Pot. I figured you didn't really need to see that. Most people know how to cook rice. And if you don't have an Instant Pot, that's really not a big deal. You can do it on the stovetop just as easily. At this point, the stew is pretty much done. I'm just tasting for seasoning. I live by myself, so I can double dip. Need just a pinch of salt. Perfect. And there you have it. Harissa stew.